Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the 1 Point Safety Show with myself, Scott Hartley, and my amazing co-host, Scouse Andy. How are you, mate? You all right, bud?
I'm okay, pal. Hanging in there. The
Yeah,
usual type of things. How
it's
about yourself, man?
Yeah, all good, mate. It's Thursday, and it's just weekend can't come quick enough, mate. So I know exactly how you feel. It's been one of them weeks this week, with work and other bits and bobs. But no celebrity royal statuses for the place I live in this week. So it'll be a bit of a different week this week, mate. But as always, we'll do our sponsors. So Dunstable Town FC's Talk of the Town podcast. We're sponsoring them this season. And delighted to do that. If you're into non-league football, go across and have a look at them on YouTube. Go and subscribe. They talk all things non-league football as well as Dunstable Town and Premier League and other bits and pieces. So if you want to go across and see them, go and check them out. We're also graciously sponsored by oddballs.com. You can go across to myoddballs.com, go and have a look at their pants, socks, all sorts on there. Got our products on there as well. So big shout out to them and big shout out to James for sorting your flights out. Can't thank you enough for that. So, thanks, Oddballs. We appreciate you. Also sponsored by Fusion Therapeutics. They are fusiontherapeutics.co.uk. They provide expert MSK assessments and treatments with a focus on holistic care, dedicated to improve your well-being through tailored musculoskeletal health plans. Team offer specialist injection therapy and non-medical independent prescribing. If you're in the Northwest, Manchester or Cheshire area, give the team a call on 01606 512 013, or you can book online and the team will be happy to advise you on this further affordable treatment solution. So a little bit of news, mate, this week. Not a huge amount, but there's been a bit of news. The first bit of news is that Dan Quinn won an award. So congratulations to head coach Dan Quinn on the Tapsorg Senator Ted Stevens Leadership Award, which is given annually to an individual who's demonstrated outstanding leadership on behalf of military and veteran survivors. So shout out to Dan Quinn for getting that award. We've also had some top 30 visits this week, Scouse. Confirmed 6 of the top 30 visits. We had a lot of them are offensive tackle, so that's quite an interesting one. So we've had, I'll try and pronounce his name. It's Gerald Christian Lichtenhan, who's an offensive tackle from Oregon State. Is likely to go undrafted. Doesn't look likely to be a draft pick, so we've got him in for a top 30 visit or to look at him. Also interviewed Josh Connolly Jr., offensive tackle out of Oregon, who is
first rounder.
Projected to be a first rounder, if not top end of the second rounder. We also took the guy I was looking at for quite a while. We've had a top 30 visit with White Millam, who's an offensive tackle from West Virginia. He's projected to probably go the back end of the second round, if not into the third round. So kind of that 61 pick looks kind of thereabouts for him. Also, I'll butcher this, but I'll give it a go, is Olufemi Oladejo, who's a linebacker stroke edge out of UCLA. Not projected to go that high, probably a third rounder, if not fourth rounder. Arian Smith, wide receiver out of Georgia, who from, if you listen to Street Scores Rico, he will tell you all about him. He's a big Georgia Bulldogs fan, so shout out to him for putting that video up. He said, look, the guy that you want, this is a guy that you want to see. He's a burner. He's got absolute speed, ridiculous speed, but didn't run a quick 40, which was bizarre. But for some reason at the Pro Day and at the East West Shrine Bowl, he was all over it with he's showing his hands and route running and catching. But he said over the last couple of years, he's not really been the best route runner. So a little bit of development there and probably a third or fourth rounder potentially. But he may well go quite a lot higher than that.
One thing you can't teach is speed. So
yeah.
I mean,
there was talk of him beating Worthy's like 40 time and all sorts. That he would run in the 4.2s is what they were expecting him to do, and I think he'd run a 4.37. Which is
still a burner. Still a burner.
Yeah, absolutely. And
he might have had an injury, slight injury. You just don't know.
Could have been, or he might have just had a bad day. You know what I mean. It's difficult, isn't it, when you're under the microscope as well, to be like, right, run this, and your whole life basically depends on the time that you run. It's really difficult. And the other one that we have interviewed this week is Quincy Riley, who's a cornerback out of Louisville, quite a lengthy cornerback, outside guy, but he has played a lot lot in the slot as well. So he's more so played slot in the last couple of years, but has the ability to play on the outside, tall corner as well. He's like 6'2", I think. So kind of that's sort of where we want to be. You know what I mean? There or thereabouts. Probably projected to be again third round, if not fourth. So depending on where you look, I mean, some of these talents, like Wyatt Millen, you've got him as low as 160 and as high as 60th. So it's like, where's the 100-place disparity? Do you know what I mean? Josh Connolly Jr., as you said, you straight away went off first rounder. Back end of the first round is what most people are saying, but I've seen some people put him as low as your mid-second round. So it's really difficult to obviously gauge where these players are going to be. But it's good that they're looking at that. And I mean, if you take that for what it's worth, they're obviously looking at offensive tackle, and they're looking, at areas that we know we need: wide receiver, cornerback, and also edge is a must. So yeah, these prospects that they're looking at and bringing in for a top 30 visit, I'm quite happy. They obviously know where they want to build, and it's obviously been through free agency, build through the trenches. What are your thoughts on it, mate?
Yeah, I think there's an element to that where you're saying, well, everyone knows our weaknesses. Everyone knows the tackle problem. Everyone knows about the receiver problem and the corner problem, and the edge problem. So everyone knows. So, like, the thing is, though, what you find is that a lot of, especially around this time of year, there's a lot of smoke being thrown around. Yeah. Like, for example, they might have a guy, maybe like, a linebacker that you might want in the first round. But we're not going to mention him. We're not going to bring him into our visits. See what I mean? So there's always different things, and sometimes these visits are quite tactical in what they're doing to try and show to other people, because you do have to declare who you actually see and you speak to. So you don't want to give away your hand. This is a game of poker, really. When it comes to the draft. You don't want to give away your whole hand. You want to give away a certain idea that you're kind of thinking you're leaning towards, or you might actually go a completely different way. They might want a receiver in the first round. I mean, you just don't know. And this is why it's so difficult to guess what Peters is going to do, because he's very, very clever with stuff like this. So, because he will look at everybody at every position. So it's not like, only our coaches are really looking at an offensive tackle, or only look at these guys. No. He's got hundreds of scouts all over the gaff, knowing exactly what
Plus, with his scouting background as well, you know what I mean.
He can evaluate
he's out there.
So he's out there all the time with them as well, especially the big like Shrine Bowl, or the big kind of get-togethers. He's at all of them. So, I mean, I say take some of it with a pinch of salt, but I still obviously, it's nice to see that they are looking at those type of players rather than say quarterback, for example, So at least it's nice to say, that's okay. So I'm good with it, man. I'm good with it.
Agree with you, James. Absolutely. In AP, we trust. I agree completely with what you just said there. It could be anything. We just don't know. What I will steer towards is, though, 5 of the draft picks who we picked in last year's draft were top 30 visits. So do you have to look at that and say, well, actually, there is some truth to the madness, if you like. There is something out there.
How many picks did we have last year? Was it 9? 8 or 9?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. So who did we pick last year? So Baptiste was last, wasn't he? McGee, Sinnett.
And we also traded down to get two
Johnny Newton, and then obviously Jaden. That's 6. So how many am I missing? 9, yeah. Hampton was another one. Yeah, that's 7. And I think, is that... Samra still, obviously, hurt.
Still, yeah. Well, let's say we had 3 second rounders, really, didn't we?
Yeah. McGee.
As you said, Johnny Newton, we had Sam Bastrill, and we had Sinnott.
Yeah, so that's right. Newton, Samra still, Sinnott were the 3 second rounders, weren't they? And then who do we have after that? It's McGee... McGee, Jean-Baptiste, and Hampton, and I think that's it, isn't it?
Well, might be one more.
I'm not. We've
not named 9, but I thought it might have been 9, but I thought it might have been 9, but it might be 8. But it's one of them. Either way, it's not all of the picks that we picked came from top 30 visits.
No, James is absolutely right. He said it feels like 10 years ago. Yeah, you're right, mate.
Yeah,
I mean, but the weird thing is, though, we're coming off an NFC Championship game that, I feel like was 5 minutes ago, and now we're already, gearing up for the draft. It's a month away, which is just absolutely crazy.
It's nice because actually good teams actually are in the end stages of the NFL league of the season. When we're done by November. Halfway through November. Let's face it, we just hope to win a game. Now this time it's like, no, we got all the way near enough to the end, and now it's like, as you said, you had a couple of weeks off, and then straight away it's straight back into the pro days and all the other things, the
combine, everything else. Yeah,
exactly. So it's just come on very nice. It literally was about a week, 10 days, wasn't it, before all these things started again. So it's great to be in that field where it's just nice that it just seems to streamline. You just keep going nice and smooth throughout the whole year now. You know what I mean? Rather than
it doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't seem like it's stopped, does it at all? I mean,
no, that's what I mean.
This is the joy of having 24-hour football, and TV that you can watch, and you can watch the NFL Network, and then free agency started, and now we're looking at what's happening with the second week of free agency.
Huge strides.
It's crazy.
It really has.
Imagine. I can't imagine what it's like for you when you were listening to long wave radio.
Long wave radio, man. Yeah, and it was all like
touchdown.
You couldn't hear half the actual conversation. It was so frustrating. But that was the only thing we had at that time. It was awful.
Jeez.
And and other ones had less than that. They just had magazines that came out a week later.
Yeah, that's crazy. That is crazy. Find the result out 1 week down the line. Yeah, I mean, wow.
Yeah, and nowadays, say that you just click on your phone, couple of clicks, and you know exactly what's going on. And
you can see plays immediately. I mean, the way technologies roll around, we're not technological, idiots here, but to have to have it all there. I mean, we do have electricity as well, yeah. But to have it here, it's
running water. We got that as well.
Yeah, we do have that too. Yeah, we do have that too. But it's crazy to think how much of a global sport it has become. You know what I mean? And looking at it and to be like, wow, this is just crazy that you can just go, oh, I missed that play. Hang on, I'll just rewind it a little bit, and it's like.
Yeah,
15 years ago, you'd never even had the opportunity to do that. It's crazy, man.
You're lucky if you're on Sky and it was just the main game of the week.
Yeah, absolutely.
15 years ago, that's what it was. You're looking to get one game a week, and even then, it wasn't on after time either because it wasn't that popular at that point. So, but yeah, man, it's exploded over the past, the last 10 years. So definitely.
Yeah, 100%.
The series has done that for the UK.
Oh yeah, I love the international series. I need to get myself down again. I mean, I know you went last year. You went. Did you go last year, or was that the year before?
Year before. I went with Chile, didn't I? Yeah.
Yeah, and you met Aled up, didn't you, as well, which was good. Yeah. So I'll have to go down next year, and I'll have to make sure I take the wife to the.
It's getting even harder now, though, isn't it? It's getting harder
to get tickets. It's really difficult.
Then it's just worse now. So.
There you go. Well, this is a mailbag episode, mate, so we'll get into some of our fan questions that we've had submitted, and thank you to everyone who's put a question in. So the first one is from Paul Bumsky Redfern. He says, being of Welsh descent, I love my rugby nearly as much as I do NFL. I've always wondered why on earth on extra points and field goals, there's no lifting, as in line-outs and kickoffs in the RFU. Is it banned, or has no one ever thought of trying it? Now, I did have a bit of a research in this, and it is banned, Paul, so you can't do that. You can put your hands up, obviously, to block a field goal, but you can't be lifted. Yeah, you're not allowed to be lifted. Would be ideal. I mean, if you've got an Ebenezer bet or someone like that to lift you, then yeah. But I can't see them lifting a lineman of like 300 pounds. Do you know what I mean? But
dress way up there because he's light. No, I mean, just throw him up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and just see what you can do.
Yeah,
like a second row throwing up a hooker or something like that.
You don't even allow you to jump over the centre.
No, you can't. You're not allowed to jump over the centre.
So it's So they definitely would. Even though I didn't do the research, I knew that was banned.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we haven't heard anything at all about the the rule changes yet, but I know that Monday and Tuesday is the owners' meeting, and the head coaches go down as well, I think, on Tuesday. So obviously they'll have that annual photo that comes out where you're looking like, where's Baldy? Oh, there he is at the back. Right, okay, I know where he is now.
I was going to say, there's too many cue balls, though, isn't there?
There's a few. There's a few now. Yeah.
Just like, where's cue ball? Oh, there he is.
But yeah, the annual photo will come out. So we'll see what happens with rule changes, and obviously the Competition Commission will see what happens with that. I mean, I really hope that they do ban the tush push. I mean, honestly, it is so frustrating. And what it would do, actually, because I've seen a lot of heat, especially after obviously this week's big news, which was probably Russell Wilson going to the Giants. After I've seen that, a lot of Twitter spats, in the NFC East and between fan bases saying, let's rate your NFC quarterbacks and who's the best in the East and who's this. And it's like, I get it with Jalen Hurts, but what I really want to see is I don't want to see Jalen Hurts diving from 2 yards to get a touchdown. I mean, how many was it last year? 8?
Yeah.
I mean, so take them away from his locker where he can't do that. I actually want to see how good you are going through the air. You know what I mean? How good are you with the ball in your hand? Because I still don't. I think he's a great quarterback, but I don't think he's. He isn't elite, but he's very good.
I think he's
good.
I
don't think. I don't think he's
great. As you said, I don't think he's great. It's. I mean, I always think Jalen Hurts' weaknesses has always been his accuracy on his throwing. It always has been. And don't get me wrong, he's got great receivers, and Harry Roseman's done a great job because he's created the team exactly how he needed it for that quarterback. He's got two very good receivers. He's got a very good tight end who's a good receiver. He's got a great running game, great O-line. They've done a lot. They've done a lot to build that team up, and that's the reason why Hurts is doing really well. If Hurts didn't say, I don't know, Cleveland's team where he's running around for his life, he ain't going to do shit. It's as simple as that. He is not one of them guys that you could put the franchise on his back alone and he'll win you games.
Yeah.
Where Daniels is the other way around. He is that. That's what Daniels is a different league. It's a different sport to what Jalen Hurts can do. Now, I know you're going to say, oh, well, look at his stats, this, touchdowns, this and that, and blah, blah, blah. No. Jaden's him. Jalen isn't. If Jalen was in another team, honestly, a shit team like Cleveland or someone like that, or any New England, he'd be running around for his dear life and he'd be throwing the ball out of bounds all the time because he's crap. Well, he's not crap. He's good. He's good, but he's not great.
He's not elite. There you go.
No,
he's not an elite quarterback.
Definitely not.
How many elite quarterbacks do you think there are in the NFL? Let's have that question out there, Scouse. Shout out to Andy Burrows and the Bunker Podcast. Hello, mate. Hope you're well.
Okay, well, let's start at the top, innit? So you've got Josh Allen, Mahomes, Burrow, Jackson,
Jaden.
It's a little early after one season, but he's touching it.
He's touching it, yeah.
Touching it, but after 1 year, it's a bit hard to do that, really. So I'll probably leave him out of it for now.
Would you say Herbert's in that conversation or not?
Now, again, I think he's a good quarterback, but not an elite quarterback. Who else is really good? Who else is really out there? Who's like really?
Yeah, I'm just trying to think about.
You think about it, there's not many really.
I mean, you got the good quarterbacks, which is probably the next level down. Which I would put Herbert, your Goffs, your Staffords.
Yeah, I mean,
them sort of players in there.
And that's the thing, you see, is that good quarterbacks eventually get found out. Elite quarterbacks don't normally. They win 9 out of 10. Do you know what I mean? And that's the elite quarterbacks.
To be honest, James and Scouse, I don't think your lists are not wrong. I think you're right there. Mahomes, Burrows, Jackson, Allen, Jaden. You're probably right.
I'd say Jaden. I think maybe a little early to throw him in the elite category just yet. Maybe if he does it this season as well, then I'd probably put him in there. But the others, yeah, I mean, they've proven it. They've been doing it for years. You know what I mean?
But you're absolutely right in what you're saying, though, that the difference there is he can put a team on his back and say, I'm going to win this game.
That's what the elite ones do. That's what the elite ones do. They can make a team who are average and make them a lot better. on his own, just because he's there and what he can do, even with poor protection, even with shady receivers. So obviously on that criteria, you would put Jaden in there, wouldn't you? But it's still that kind of thing of where like Jalen Hurts say, he's good, he's the next tier down. And to go rid of the tush push, he'd probably be a division down again. To be fair, if they got rid of that and his running touchdowns he gets. So,
They might do that, James. James is saying here, would the Eagles not just try and do more QB sneaks as an alternative to tush
easy to stop though, because you've got big guys up front and the guys, and you're not diving at somebody's legs instantly. You know what I mean? You're actually trying to run, and obviously you're more upright. So it's easier for you. I'm not saying it's always going to be stopped, but it's a hell of a lot easier to stop than the tush pushes. So I'm obviously because the defensive lines are so twitchy on it. They're getting drawn off sides all the time. Where with a quarterback sneak, very rare that you get done for that. If that makes sense. Go on, mate.
Burrow's brought this up. Can we address this rumor that you're saying here? Did I read that Dak is on the move? Now there is talk of the number 2 pick overall from the Cleveland Browns being traded to Dallas for Dak Prescott, and Prescott will go to the Browns.
James just says there, mate. Mad rumor, that 100%.
Absolutely crazy rumor. I mean, I cannot see how Jerry Jones would pull that off. I mean, unless they absolutely love someone like Shedeur Sanders, and then they want to get Dion in as the head coach, and Schottenheimer is just in as a 1-year interim guy.
No one's going to take Dak Prescott at $60 million a year for the second round, the second overall pick. It's just crazy. Never happening, bro. It's never happening. I mean, he's another one of them guys who's good, but not great. You don't want that. You don't want chokers in the playoffs, and that's what Dak is. So
I've seen this rumor, and I've seen people talking about it, and I'm now.
By the way, Browns are broke.
Yeah, I know. I'm now trying to put 2 and 2 together and make 7. But I'm looking at it and thinking, well, hang on a minute. What did convince Myles Garrett to stay? Was it the fact that they said, "Hey, we're going to get Dak," and then he's like, "Well, okay, you can win under that quarterback." Maybe, but it's probably more about the dollars, to be fair, and they've paid him a ridiculous amount of money.
40 million reasons of why he should stay in Cleveland.
Burrow says the Browns, more chance of me playing up front for England. Yeah, you're probably right, mate.
Well, don't forget Dak does have a no trade clause as well. So
he does. Yeah, you're right.
It doesn't mean shit. It's first of all, Cleveland just don't have the money. There's no way they could spread it. They're already ruined because of Deshaun Watson's contract anyway. They've also brought in Kenny Pickett, which is the real, true Super Bowl contending quarterback right there. And yeah,
Kenny Smallhands, take my strong hand, child.
Exactly. It's awful. The rumor was awful. I don't know who brought that out. It might have been Jerry Jones himself.
Maybe he's trying to sell some jerseys. Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Who knows?
No one with the brainstem. No one with the brainstem would even try to do that trade. As in, if you're Cleveland, you've got the number 2 pick.
It's crazy. Tim Towner's put a question into us. He says 1 year into full rebuild, and there's still so many holes to address. And AP said he was planning to build through the draft. So buy or sell. We will keep 2 picks and use both picks on defensive players, regardless of position. The goal is to use these picks to build the D. So do you think we use the first 2 picks this year on
the defense?
Defense.
Again, it's so hard to predict Peters and what he does. He's had drafts where he spent 3 first rounders and Trey Lance, and then he's had other things where, he's picked up a gem in the 5th round. These things, that's just that, or 7th round even with Purdy. Those things. It's hard. That's why it's so difficult to actually guess what Peters is going to do, and that's why he's so clever at it. But for me, it's all about who's available at that point. I mean, if you've got an offensive tackle that you want, say for example, he wanted Connolly, and he goes at 25 instead of 29, where we're at. But then his next board is probably going to be an edge guy, or a cornerback. You know what I mean? So then it'll change. So it just depends. I mean, I think he's after certain players rather than an actual position. Like about like a certain type of mentality, a certain type of.
Yes, who had that? It's who had that Commanders tag last year. Do you know what I mean? And you're like, well, who's it going to be? Who's going to get that tag this year? I mean, James, you bring up a good point as well. He said, you know what's good for defense, scoring 40 points each week and making other teams having a throw. Yeah, you're right, but you can't sustain that all the time.
I mean, for that point there, James, look at the Bengals. I mean, they've got a ridiculous, high-powered offense. How many games did they win last year? 8?
Something like that. 9? Yeah, 8.
8, 9. I mean, that's mid. But yeah, they've got an unbelievable attack. So, there's no
horrible defense. And the thing is, they've tried to.
If you spend it all on offense, you can't spend it on the defense. So your defense is going to put up or give up 30 plus a game. So it's a lot of pressure for your offense to continue to do that every week. 30 plus.
So do you think we take 2 picks straight away at D then?
I'm going to say no. To answer the question, I do think it'll probably be split. I think it'll be one offensive and one defensive player, probably in the first 2.
Yeah, I do too. I think you're probably right there. I think one of them will probably be a tackle or a guard.
Yeah.
And then
you go into guard or something like that.
Yeah. And then you're looking at hoping if we do stay at 29, we pick an edge of some description. I really do.
Oh yeah, I mean that's the biggest hole out of all of it is edge. At the moment, you've got decent cornerbacks. Okay, you've not got no depth, but you've got decent starting cornerbacks. But you don't have a good starting edge. You just don't. So for me, that's the number one priority in the draft.
It has to be, at the moment, yeah.
But again, it depends. To say is value there. There's a lot of good edge players in this draft this year, so it's good for us. Not as many. I mean, there is some good tackles, but probably not as many as you think. If you're looking at kind of third rounders, you're probably not going to find a Brandon Coleman there. In the third round this year. I don't think you'll see that. But it will be interesting to see which way he goes.
Yeah, Bunker Podcast here, Andy Burrows, he says, did you boys hear the news that the league may want to do away with the franchise tag rule? I didn't hear that. I haven't seen that proposed, but obviously we'll wait and see what happens in next week's owners' meeting, I suppose, and see if anything comes to fruition. I can't see that either. I cannot see that.
The only leverage a club has got over the player.
Yeah, absolutely.
The players have all the leverage nowadays because of that free agency and how much money they can earn and all the rest of it. So that's the only kind of half a control of what a club's got is that franchise tag. So there's no way. I mean, the players might try and get it off the board, of course, but I can't see it being passed. I can't see owners going, oh yeah, that's a good thing for our clubs, for our teams. It's not. So I just can't see that going at all.
Yeah, me neither. I just can't see it happening. But yeah,
I mean, there might be like ones or just one franchise tag and that's it. There's no transitional tags or this tag or blah, blah, blah.
Or they might change it and say you can only franchise a player once.
Yeah. I can't see him getting rid of it completely. Though. I mean, they might change it like that, as you say, but unlikely.
Yeah, so James Bell, who's in our chat at the moment, James submitted a question to us. He says, the topic of the day was, why are we signing everyone on 1-year deals instead of locking them in for longer? If they overperform and get bigger contracts elsewhere, do we not then receive compensatory picks for this? And is this the way that Peters could try and build up draft capital?
I mean, yes and no. I think the thing is with compensatory picks is that the player leaves on whose contract's expired, but then it's about how much money he's offered and on the kind of level of player he was for you. Does that make sense? Yeah. And that's what you can get from a third rounder all the way down to a 7th.
Yeah, so we're in line. We're in line for a 6th round draft pick, compensatory pick from Dante Fowler going to the Cowboys.
Yeah, which is, and again that's not from Dallas, by the way. Dallas don't lose that pick.
No. It comes just from the NFL. Yeah,
the NFL. Yeah. So it isn't that Dallas have lost a 6th rounder for them. It's not that, So think about that for a champ, for example. But yeah, I just think I can understand it from both ways. Don't get me wrong. You've got of course, you want your good players on bigger deals, longer contracts, so you haven't got to worry about them for too much. However, we have massive turnover in players again. Last year, this year, and I say next year, we can't have too many. We can't have. We haven't got enough money to pay everybody that we want on big deals.
Yeah, that's it. That's exactly it.
So it's all about kind of getting the best out of them, picking up guys who are motivated, who want to prove it, and if they are good enough and the numbers right, Peters has a number for everybody, and if you're not willing to meet that number, you let you go. It doesn't matter who you are. I mean, Dante Fowler's a prime example of that. You know, he must have had a contract or something like, maybe, you're only getting money. Your number for you is $6 million a year. Take it or leave it. Well, he left it, didn't he? He went to Dallas for $8 million. So Peters has got a number and he won't budge from it. He's done that.
Yeah, look at the Diami Brown number 10 mil. I mean, wow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I bet you Peters probably thought, I'm probably going to give you 5 mil.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, there you go. There's Jags offering you 10 mil for 1 year. See you later. He's not. He really isn't. Like he's quite happy to let you go if you don't want to play ball, as in what he thinks you're worth. Does that make sense?
Yeah, of course.
And that is how you actually become a good GM. It's being hard and maybe a little bit of negotiation skills, sure, but it isn't like he's not going to go, oh, I think you're worth 10 million, and then all of a sudden you knock on the door and you want 20 million, and he goes, oh, okay, yeah, I'll give you 20 mil. That ain't going to happen. He's just not one of the type of dudes. He's not going to bow down to that kind of thing, no matter who you are. And he's done it before. You see, he's traded out big names over at San Fran before because of contracts. So it's he's not afraid to do stuff like that.
Yeah, it's a really difficult one. I mean, James, great question, by the way. But looking at it, I understand where you're coming from on the 1 year deals. It worries me as well because of the amount of roster turnover that you get every single year. I mean, we were the same this year. Going into the first season there, it was ridiculous. Like, we had no one on this roster. They built this roster with players who weren't fancied by other teams, didn't want to be anywhere, and a few veteran heads that made the culture tick, which is what we wanted to come in. We've signed them back with Bobby Wagner and Zach Ertz, which is great. But again, you understand why they're on 1 year deals and others may be on prove it deals, and then get paid later on down the line. With a big salary cap though, and a massive amount of salary cap, it did make me question it a little bit as to think, well, hang on a minute, where are we putting our money here? Because let's be honest, like you said, I'm looking at this and saying, well, if Debo is anything like he was a few years ago, he needs paying. Terry probably gets a contract this off season, a big deal there. Laramie Tunsil needs a deal. You've got, what if Quan Martin has a good season again? Is he due another deal? I don't know.
Yeah.
And then you think, right, okay, who else needs to be paid? Daron Payne needs to be paid potentially. He only seems to turn up in a contract year.
I think Daron's gone at the end of this year.
I do too. I probably do too. It depends on how he plays. You know what I mean? But it's.
So to answer James Bell's another question here, look how many
compensatory picks. Yeah, I think it's 9. I'm pretty certain they got 9 this year.
The maximum you can have is 4, and then
one is it really?
Special, and one's that's a special one if one of your coaches has actually been signed to a head coaching deal or manager deal, who's from an ethnic minority. Once you get an extra one, then so maximum any 1 year is 5. Right, so yeah, I read up on that one because I saw that question before we started. So I deleted that.
There you go. Look at that.
So I think they've got like 3/3, for example. Which doesn't help us. Which doesn't help. Because don't forget as well that they lost a lot of players. A lot of good players last season. Not because obviously that's when this compensation comes in for this year. Is about last season's players that have gone to the year before. So that's why we haven't got any, because we didn't get rid of anyone basically.
Yeah, we didn't have anyone on the roster.
We just kept on 1 year deals, as you said before. So
it is really tough. It is really tough to build depth, and I think, and I'm hoping that's probably what AP's trying to do here, because we've talked about it a lot on here. Like, if you look away from what are the starters, injuries wise hit, and then you're rolling out Trent Scott. You know what I mean? And you're like, hang on a minute, what's going on here? There's no, if Terry got an injury, which thankfully he didn't, and touch wood, he doesn't. What have you got left? In the wide receiver room at depth. You're out there playing Noah Brown and Luke McCaffrey. It's really tough and that's the biggest thing that I think they're trying to do now is build that depth. Although it is on 1-year deals, you're kind of almost saying, right, well, these guys have got something to prove who've come in. They've come in as experienced starters or experienced players from other teams. We'll hope they build to what is our culture and our standards, and then bring them in and see how we go. I mean, we don't know how they're going to perform. We've got no idea, but we just got, as James said earlier on, James Lowe, we've got to trust AP, haven't we?
Exactly. And to be fair, I think he's earned the right to let him do what the hell he wants this off season. He'll get fans way above expectations. I thought he'll be played.
Yeah, massively.
But obviously, he trusts his coaches as well. He knows they can bring in a player that's going to fit the mold that they want, and the coaches are going to coach him up the right way. That they're going to get good enough performances on the field that get us wins. So
yeah, I just think if we're going to get a winning season again, and it doesn't have to necessarily go, well, how do you better it? You get to the Super Bowl. Listen, if we get quite far deep in the playoffs again, then you're on that trajectory, and you're saying, yeah, we're going to do, we are an established team that could win it all, and you're one of the favourites in the league, which is great. But that's when people start calling for your coaches, man. There's loads of talk about Cliff in the off-season this season, and he's decided, no, I'm staying, still getting paid off Arizona, which is great. But it's not just people like Cliff, it's the next man up behind that, where we've built this amazing star-studded coaching staff in the off-season, which I was so surprised with. But people like your Anthony Lynn's doing run game coordinators, Bobby Johnson, offensive line coach, everyone hated him and said, oh, he's shit, No, he's actually done really well. The other Johnson that's here used to be at Philadelphia, you know what I mean? He's very good as well. And you're thinking to yourself, are we going to lose some of these coaches? Inevitably it's going to happen. But how do you fill that void as well?
Yeah, and I think that's where the succession tree happens. And though you've seen it, you've seen some of these youngsters getting in there. Look at John Madden's nephew or whoever it was.
Yeah,
he's coming in as an offensive guy. Is he defensive guy?
Offensive. I think he's quality control, isn't he?
Okay,
offensive.
Yeah. Okay. He's at the bottom of the rung. But the thing is, though, it's that thing of AP's looking in 2 years' time. How good's this guy going to be? Is he going to be knowledgeable? I like to think he'd be knowledgeable just because of his name. Plus, he played quite well for Michigan. He was good, decent at college. Obviously, not good enough to be a pro, but he was decent. And then, he's young. He's going to learn a lot from those top coaches. And I like to think he's going to step up. And then, again, he'll get a promotion in 2 years. And you never know. Some of these guys end up being it. I mean, look at the superstar stud coaches we had on offense under Jay Gruden.
Yeah.
We had Shanahan, we had McVay, we had O'Connell, we had all these dudes. So, and good coaches go. Unfortunately, they do, because they all want to better themselves, and not fair play. But as long as you've got a succession plan in place underneath, then I'm all good with that.
Yeah, and then I'm looking here at my notes from previous weeks. I mean, Brian Schneider's another one who he brought in, who's the assistant special teams coordinator. I mean, he has been a special teams coordinator at 3 different places in the league. He was Dan Quinn's special teams coordinator in Seattle. So he's taken that role. Okay, it's specials. We know it's not, the most, it's one of the coordinator roles. We get that, but it's not always going to be that sexy to do that. But that's an instant succession there. If you lose,
exactly,
who's our,
that guy knows
who's our specials now? What's our specials coach called? Oh my word, can't even remember his name now.
It's not Kaiser, is it? I think
no, he's well gone. It was a guy who was God. Someone in the chat tell me who our specials teams coordinator is. That's going to annoy me. He was in Seattle with Dan Quinn as well. So yeah, it's one of them. It's going to annoy me as well. I can't remember his name.
Google it.
Google's your friend.
Larry Izzo. Here we go.
Larry Izzo. There you go. Thank you, mate. Thank you.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's backing up obviously Izzo. So there is a succession plan there. You can see that's going to happen, but it's going to be tough. Even people like David Blau, who was quarterbacking 2 seasons ago. You know what I mean? As a backup, people were after him in the off season, man. Do you know what I mean? We had to block it. We had to block someone.
Yeah, I think was it Blau they blocked?
Blau they blocked, yeah, and they were after Tavita Pritchard as well, weren't they?
Pritchard, yeah. If Jaden does another good year this year, I bet he goes promotion somewhere else.
Yeah, probably. So it's gonna be tough but
that's hard because then you think, well, what do you do at the quarterback thing? Because obviously you want to keep it as normal and same old for Jaden, which we've done this year. We've got Cliff and we brought back Mariota and those things, which are great for continuity. But then after this season, I can't see Mariota staying again, and I can't see Cliff being here. Being honest, if we do well, so who's next up? Would it be? I mean, I don't mean from an offensive coordinator position. I'm thinking about from the quarterback type of thing. I think it might go as well. So
if Tavita Pritchard, Blau might get promoted into the QB's coach full time.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, see, there's people there. There's people you can think of and think, oh, well, these guys are bright. These guys are smart guys that are there, and so there's definitely succession plans. I think for probably most coaching avenues, the trees of all these coaches. So yeah, man, I think we'll be fine from a coaching standpoint.
Be interesting to see what does happen, doesn't it? But there you go. Next question is from Christian Burt, who you can find his work on UK HTTC blogs. Just Google UK HTTC blogs. Does a lot of writing and blogging. He's also on Red Zone in the Lab UK with you and Deuce. So really good guy. Appreciate your question, Christian. He said, if you could bring back one former Washington great to this current roster, who would you bring back and why? So I had a big think of this, and I got 2 in my head straight away. And it's not RG knee before anyone starts.
RG knee with a good knee.
Yeah, maybe. No.
Back then, no. I mean, obviously, there's a few guys that instantly step out to you. You got your Sean Tees. You've got Darrell Green. I mean, one of those two. One of those two would be amazing to have. Then you can obviously think about the Diesel. We need a running back like him, Bruiser who can run through everybody. You see me? Like, there's just so many dudes that you could go off. But to be fair, it's so difficult because you can only pick one.
One
in this current team.
And why?
Who would give you the biggest?
I know straight away.
The biggest impact out of all them guys.
Do you want to know who I pick
in this current team now?
In this current team right now, who would I want to bring back a Washington great? It's Ryan Kerrigan, without doubt.
Okay,
because we need edge.
Because of the edge guy and obviously the sack. Yeah. So I mean, okay.
We're desperate for edge. He's got he's the all-time highest sack leader in the entire franchise. Yes, he's a coach with us as well, so that's brilliant. But that's the biggest mistake that Ron ever made for me was getting rid of him. He should have retired a Redskin, and a Redskin great at that. Dexter Manley, great shout, Deluxe.
One. Yeah. I've got Big Dexter here actually with a nice little signed picture from him. But yeah, man, I mean that's what I'm saying, man. You can go back into the 80s. You can look at all these guys. D
Hall, wow, Will. Yeah, I mean James is right as well. What about Jordan Reed? A fit Jordan Reed as well.
Healthy Jordan Reed, nice. I mean, you can go back and go for potentially Chris Cooley as well. I mean, there's so many guys that you could, and Deluxe is right. Manley would fit this attitude of our team.
Yeah, definitely.
That's what I'm saying, man. And you can always look back into the 91 teams or the Super Bowl winning teams. You can always look for some guys, and all of them, to be honest, would probably be an upgrade in most positions.
Are you going to go offensive line? I don't know.
I mean,
the Hogs.
That's what I'm saying. So easy. You can pick 4, 5. You can pick all of the whole Hogs, and they're better than our own line. Yeah. Let's be honest. They are. Those guys in prime could way better than the guys we got now. All of them. So I don't know. Who to go with? Because now, obviously, looking at the team right now. I don't know, man. I don't know. Troy Ackby. Yeah. Let's bring him back.
Troy Apke, yeah, why not? Yeah.
But look, you can only pick one, mate. You can't pick everyone, man. Gary Clark going back part of the posse. Oh man, that's so difficult, man. That's so difficult. I mean, Sean Taylor was fit.
Sean T, man. Wow, how good would he be?
Imagine Darryl Green total lockdown corner for 20 years, though.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
You know what I mean? 20 years, man. Not just like 5 or 6. You know.
Oh. I mean, I could put a jersey on him now, and I still think he'd do a better job than Benjamin St. Juste. But there you go.
100%. He could do better than most corners now, probably. He's 60, and phenomenal. And that's the thing, man. We've had so many great players that any guy that you could pick would be better than what we've got on this team right now. Being honest.
Yam said he's got us up on the big telly. Don't do that, Yam. It's going to be terrible.
Don't do that. Turn the TV off, man.
We met him, didn't we? So you know what I mean. It's really nice guy. Yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, he's just on my jersey as well. My Kerrigan jersey because I didn't have a man anymore. Sorry, a Mosley one. Sorry. But yeah, I mean, again, lockdown kickers. They're always good. They're always good to have. But yeah, I think. Oh, yeah. I think you've just got to get Sean T in there. I think you just got to.
There you go. Sean T. I'm going to go Ryan Kerrigan because that's through my fandom. That's where I'm going with that one. So
there's just so many dudes, man. There's so many good players that we've had over the times. You know, obviously there's guys that we've never even seen play, and they were like legends of the game at that point. Sammy Ball, for example. You know, he was Pro Bowler in like 3 different fucking positions in one season.
I know, it's crazy, isn't it?
You don't see that shit anymore. You know, so, and that's different levels. It's levels, man. You're right. Yeah, but for me, someone like a Sean Taylor, if the referees would let him get away with a few hits, because obviously the referees would probably kill him off now, to be honest. But yeah, maybe getting ejected every game, wouldn't he? To be fair,
he would be. You're right. You're getting ejected every single game.
But if you could ring in a little bit, yeah, I'd probably go Sean T. Imagine having him in there.
Adrian Peterson, if he was in his
prime AP, that'd be nice. But we never had prime AP, so I don't know.
No, we didn't. But he was still electric at times.
He was still good. Don't get me wrong, but he was nowhere near the same player.
No, I know.
Minnesota AP was unreal. So
he was. Yam Sensei who's in our chat as well.
Yam.
He said, "Why are people still so down on our roster as it sits and our free agent pickups? I already see a lot down, not just on them, but hopes for the season are already muted." I mean, I'll hold my hands up here and say I didn't think he was a great free agency. We had this discussion last week, and the chat turned me round, and you turned me round, Scouse, and were like, "Nah, you're wrong." And I can understand how they tried to build it, but maybe I was fixated on names. Maybe I was fixated on this free agent and that free agent, and oh my God, this is going to be awesome. And look at all these players we could have got. Your Holland,
the money we've got, blah blah blah.
Yeah, exactly. And maybe if there was a couple more splashes, I might be like, oh my God, that's amazing. But what we did do through trades, I can't argue with that at all.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing as well, is that you got to think about it from. You know, how much cap is left, for example, right now? I think it's about 28 million, I think. Something like that. 28 mil, something like that, yeah. And you've got to use 8 million of that realistically for your draft class. And then have a little bit of spare. In case of injuries and you bring other guys up or whatever, practice squad.
Yeah.
So, a few in the grand here and there, yeah. So, as I'm saying, so really, you've only got 20 mil to play with. And
possibly not even that, maybe like 10.
We've made, I don't know, I think we're a bit more than that, but make it, yeah, you split the difference, 15 mil, all right? So he's got 15 million left to spend now. That doesn't really get you an elite player nowadays in any position, really.
Plus, you've got to then sign Terry to a deal.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, with the Terry thing, though, that could actually be in our favour, as you could extend it, you could change the cap a bit on that, and
yeah, of course you can. Yeah.
Knock it down a couple of years down the line, where you got to pay him a bit more. So you can probably get away with that a little bit. It might give us some actual cap relief for this year, but yeah, it's you've got to be smart because everyone wants the shiny new toy. Everyone wants the great name player. And to be fair, say with the trades, we've got proven quality dudes.
We have as long they are proven. Debo is proven. I give him that. But it's will he be the same Debo that we saw 2 years ago? Because last year's Debo wasn't
that's
great.
The reason why 49ers let him go as well. One, they couldn't afford to renew his contract. That's one thing because they've got to pay Purdy, which is going to be a lot of money. And two, as you say, he didn't have a great season last season. He wasn't massively productive. His yardage was okay, but his touchdowns were way off. So it's going to be that kind of thing. It's a proven deal, but there's also more incentives for him in that new updated contract that he got from us.
Mm-hmm.
And, that'll keep him motivated. And I say a motivated Debo is a good Debo. It's just a case of can he stay. And I don't mean because I've been on about it before he's injury prone. Now he's injury prone in a way that he plays, but he plays hurt, and his stats drop off. Not like he misses loads of games. He's not one of them, but when he's playing, he doesn't really produce anything because he's hurt. That makes sense. So, not because he's a bad player, just because he's just, he's carrying an injury of some sort and he wants to play through it for you, which is a good team player. But again, that doesn't help you if he's not producing for you. So, that's the problem with him. But again, yes, he's looking for a new contract. He's looking for probably his last big deal. Let's face it. No, he's coming up to 30 as well, isn't he, soon? I think he's 29 at the moment. So again, it's that kind of thing where, it's and that's the thing of the 1 year deals as well. Everybody's motivated.
Yeah, they are. You're right in that respect. I get that.
No one's taking a day off. No, I watched. I've got my 3 year deal. I'm chilling. Nah, mate, you're fucking working hard, and that's what he wants from most of his players.
And I watched his interview on the Commander's official YouTube channel. And I was really impressed, mate. I was really impressed with the way he came across. Now, I know you can be an impressive person to the media. I get that. You could be a quiet guy. You could be a rah-rah guy. But when he said, look, the Commanders was my number one spot where I wanted to land when I found out I was going to get traded, I actually genuinely believe that. I genuinely believe he thought to himself, hell yeah, that's where I want to go. I've watched Jaden, and he was talking about Brandon Ayuk and Jaden are really close, and so I've noticed what he's been doing. And he was on a plane going to the boxing in New York, and he said I just literally landed and got a phone call saying you traded, and he said I was fucking bouncing, and I'm like, all right, and he looked like he was motivated, and they brought up you've got this guaranteed money now, you've changed your contract, everything's gone forward with it. How does it feel when you haven't even played it down for us yet, that they've got this trust in you? And he looked like, yeah, man, I'm grateful, but I'm going to work hard. And I thought, okay, so he doesn't seem to be this diva necessarily that you get. I mean, look at like Stephon Diggs going to where did he go to? Patriots, wasn't it? Like 62 million or whatever it is. I didn't want Stephon Diggs here because, mate, he is a diva. Yeah. The DK Metcalf's diva. That's not the sort of character we need in this locker room right now.
100%.
And that's something that we're talking through.
You mentioned about Debo. Now, obviously, Peters knows Debo.
Yeah, of course he does.
He helped him. He helped draft him, so he knows him inside out. He knows if he's a real diva or not, and is he kind of like all mouth and a little bit of show. You know what I mean? And that you can knock that out of him quite quickly. You know what I mean? Put him back in the box type of thing. Where some people you just can't control. There's some dudes you just can't control.
AP.
These guys are just crazy.
Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, when you think you're as big as life, like Aaron Rodgers does, yeah, he's just bad. It's just bad for your team morale. He is. Whoever goes to anybody, he's going to be ruining their squad, their team, their morale. 100%.
Not good.
The Jets were looking great until he come on. Do you know what I mean? They just look really good. You just needed that quarterback. The team looks sweet, offense and defense. They're good players. They could do something here. And Rodgers comes in, destroys it all. So, and he got Salah sacked, and it's it's just a nightmare. Seriously, I think that's why I think no one's touched him. The Giants have gone down Jameis Winston route.
Well, Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston now,
yeah, it's just awful, man.
So James has got a great point. He said, "Do you think they want to go all in right away, or just be one and done, or wanted to build something that lasts a while?" We talked about that a little bit before, and I think you're right there. I think they just want to build something that's going to last a while. So,
but do you know? Because the thing is, as you mentioned there, a lot of them are still on 1-year deals.
Yeah, they are. But you're going to have to try and sign them onto longer term deals, aren't you?
Yeah, but that's the risk you're taking, isn't it? As you said before, if they overperform, which is great for the team on the field, as in hopefully that will translate to wins. But then also the pain is trying to pay them afterwards.
Yeah.
So it's hard to say. Yes, is he going all in? I think he is because of the ages of the players he's signing. We have got a lot older. No, the team average now is about 29, I think. I think it was like 23 or 24 under Ron. It's gone up by a lot. But again, they've gone for proven vets who know what they're doing. So it's because they want to win now. Because while they've got Jaden's contract the way it is, this is the time to go in and do something good. Because as soon as he hits that market, mate, as soon as he gets that kind of on his last year, 5-year option, it's going to be high, $70 million a year. Game over. Your squad ain't going to be able to cope with that. As in, he's going to have to make up for a lot of poor players on his team for that money that he's going to be paid. So.
Agreed. Will says, hoping Donovan Ezerike falls to 29. I agree with you, mate. I really hope he does fall there. Very good player. Another one on the draft side, he says, do you think James Pierce will be drafted at 29, even with the character concerns? Now, I did read a bit about this. There's something going back to college days about sexual assault, and I'm not sure, mate. I don't know if that's the red flag. I mean, I'll let them make that decision, not for me.
I mean, even I think, listen to Kyle on the Burgundy Zone about James Pierce. He says that he doesn't, like, when he watches the film, he doesn't finish plays. He just doesn't finish plays. And so you don't want a guy who's only doing a half-hearted. I mean, you want a guy who's finishing every single play with everything he's got,
What you mean, like Chase Young?
see what I mean? Yeah, so this is why for me I'm staying way clear of him. Even though
that's my pick, Mike Green. I like Mike Green. I think that's who I would go with at 29.
Well, the problem is Mike Green. I mean, you've seen mocks. Some people taking him as high as 8. Some people, and another time he's gone down to the second round. I think he went down to a third round once. The guy is raw. That's the problem with him. He's raw, but he's got so many good athletic traits that it kind of
bend's ridiculous. The bend is absolutely ridiculous.
I'd say he's still learning the game. And imagine someone like Kerrigan working with him all the time. That'd be nice, man. That would be really nice. So it's. It might be really nice if he's still there at 29 or whatever, but I just can't see it. I know. It's up and down with the mock drafts, and obviously mock drafts, what the hell are they anyway? But
yeah,
for me, it's if he's there, you take him. Simple as that. If he falls to you at 29, you take him. But yeah, probably not there.
Ed Helsinki says,
"Oh really? Didn't know that. Sorry, mate."
Oh, was that who it was? Yeah, I couldn't remember, mate, which one it was.
Virginia, and then transferred to Marshall, and just had another accusation.
Okay, I couldn't remember who it. I couldn't remember who it was, whether it was him or whether it was the other guy you were talking about. I know it was some edge prospect. So
that kind of yeah. I mean, will he get his act together? I mean, don't forget we cut Brandon McManus.
Yeah, absolutely.
For an accusation that wasn't proven.
Yeah.
So,
and look at him; he's just got a new 3-year deal with the Packers. And fair play to him.
Nice deal, yeah. He played well for when he came in for them.
Mm-hmm.
And he should have been our kicker. If he just didn't panic, and instantly cut him, wait to find out what went on, properly. Would it go to court? Would it not? No. I understand the links of all this. You don't want this coming with us from the old Redskins and all the rest of it. I get it, but sometimes you just gotta believe the player because accusation is exactly that. It's an accusation. It's not legit until it's proven.
Yeah.
Where for example. You would see that now. You'd see Mike Green there's not with that second one as well. Yeah, you get done once when he was 16 or something like that. You might let him off. Not a second time, no chance. So he's definitely off our radar, even if he's there. I don't think we pick him.
Yeah, I think you're right there. So Ed is Helinski. I can't pronounce his name. Apologies for that. He said, "Please assign a grade to the Commanders' off-season efforts so far. Better yet, why have you given that grade? And P.S. No grading on a curve."
What do you think then?
Yeah, I'd give us a solid. I was like C last week because I was quite down in the dumps about it, but it's a B in it. It's a solid B. We don't know what these guys are going to do. It's clear the elephant defense is going to be something that we employ. Have we upgraded? Have we got better? Yes. No doubt about it. We've got better at left tackle. We've got better at wide receiver than what we had before. The glaring issue is edge. That's where we haven't got better. We brought back the players that you wanted to bring back.
We've got worse at edge because now Fowler's gone as well. So
yeah, probably right, mate, to be fair. But that can be... Well, yeah, we're not grading on a scale. So, yeah, a B is the answer to that one. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was going to go with. I was going to go with a B. I think we've got some good players there. I think Will Harris will be really good for us.
Jones, I think, will be a good player.
He plays with that nasty, and I like that, especially with my DBs, 100%. So yeah, I think they've done a lot of who's this guy, who's that guy. But when you start looking into them a bit more, you think, well, actually, yeah, he actually would do well on our team. The way we play the game and stuff. Definitely got guys there who can produce. I think straight away. So, I mean, yeah, I'd say there's still glaring holes, of course. There's a glaring hole at guard or tackle, depending where you want to put it. If you're going to put Wiley into the middle for a bit, and then because you don't know when Cosby's going to come back. I mean, we're guessing that he's going to be back in about October, but it could be later than that. You don't know how well he's doing in his rehab, so he might miss up. He might miss up until December even. You just don't know. There are big guys. It normally takes a little bit longer for the big guys to get back to normal playing games, playing shape as well. That's another thing. Coming back mid-season, everybody's fine-tuned, and he's coming back rusty. He probably won't produce well. He might have to be in and out of the team for a while. Snaps like Coleman was, being that he was with rotation. Maybe he might have to do that with Cosby for a bit. You just don't know how his knee's going to react. So
that's why I like the Nate Herbig pickup. I think that's a good under the radar signing.
And he's the other guy as well. He's good. He's pretty good, wasn't he, for the Steelers? Wasn't he, Herbig? So
yeah, very good. Herbig was at the Steelers and the Eagles before that. So yeah. decent. And
then you got the other dude who came from the Chargers, big lad.
Tackle. Yeah, Foster Sorrell, yeah.
Yeah, and he's going to be a tackle, isn't he? So
potentially.
I think that'd be interesting. I think I'd say from that, just having do we know much about that Nick, whatever his name is?
Nick Herbig, yeah.
Oh, Herbig, I've seen him play. He's okay. He can hold his own. He might even be starter at the moment.
Yeah, I think he will. I think he'll be right tackle, right guard. Sorry.
Right guard, and if that's the case, then you're going to throw Coleman, and this is the other thing, the interesting part about Coleman, because do you really want to get rid of him after 1 year? And he did mostly well, on an island on his own left tackle. Do you do you try and train him to be right tackle, or do you bring him into left guard, and that's where he's going to be forever? Because you're not going to bring him back out again. As soon as you bring him back,
that's where I'm thinking he's there. Yeah, he is your automatic Pro Bowl left guard. That is exactly where I want to put him. And then you draft a tackle at right tackle. Andrew Wiley, I know you don't like Turnstile. I know you don't like him. I get that. But he's not actually as bad as what you make out. And Jaden can... No, he's not. And Jaden can make up with his legs as well if he has to. So you draft a tackle...
For nothing. I don't call him Turnstile for nothing. It's a turnstile, man.
So you draft a tackle to be your swing tackle. If it's a White Millum, as we spoke about before, if Josh Connolly Jr. falls in the draft or is there at 29.
We're not going to... They're specialist tackles. You're not going to put them as a swing tackle.
No, but you can upgrade, is what I'm saying to you. You can upgrade the tackle through there. Swing tackle would be White Millum. That would be a probably third round pick, or if we have a third round pick, or if we trade back, or even he might take him at 61. I'm not sure. So that would be A1 you would look at there potentially.
So this guy's meant to be a starting centre, Herbig.
Yeah, he does play centre or guard, but he's played right guard a lot for. He was meant to be the Steelers' actual starting centre at the start of the year, but he didn't. He got injured, I think, and didn't play. And then he came in and he played guard for them quite a bit. Played guard as well. Played right guard for Philly as well a while back. So I got no issues with him playing guard, none at all. But yeah, what do we pick in the first 2 picks, Scouse? Do you want to go with that one?
Yeah, I think it's got to be tackle and edge. I think they're going to be the 2 positions to go. It depends which way around, and it'll depend on who's there on the board at that point. But I do think it's going to be those 2 positions.
I do too. Exactly the same. Yeah, exactly the same. No different. I mean, if there's a decent corner that you maybe thought, you know what, we're not going to get him if we wait down.
I can't see us going like a corner again in the second or first. I just can't see it. You know, you got Sam Drill, you've got
Lattimore.
You got Lattimore, you know, and you also got and you got the guy Jones. From England who's proven as well. I mean,
and then one of the back
be on the rotation or be on kind of on the bench. You know, your second rounder should be a starter. You know,
who's the backup? Is it who's the backup we signed back? Who was starting last year in the nickel?
Igbenogany.
Yeah, Noah Rai. Of course it was, yeah. So he's now a backup, you know what I mean? Which is like, wow, okay.
Yeah.
So you've got a bit of depth there as well, which is good, yeah.
And so we got Harris to replace Chin. So we haven't lost body there. Yeah, I just think if you're going to go a corner in the first or second, they better be damn good because they're going to have to be starter. You can't have them being like a Forbes. You just can't. No. You can't do that. You can't have a guy to be a massive bust in the first 2 rounds, especially with how many draft picks we've got right now at this moment. So that's why I wouldn't be looking at corner the first 2 rounds. Unless we trade it back and we got like another 2. We got like 2 seconds or something like that, or whatever. But I wouldn't really be looking at corner in the first 2, and then I'd be looking. Got to be the edge because that's the biggest hole by an absolute mile.
Yeah, has to be. Yeah.
And tackle, I think tackle would be the other one. I really do because I think you got a lot more flexibility with the other guys that we've got. We mentioned Herbig, we've mentioned the other big lad. You know, we've got bodies there now where before we didn't. We were actually any good. I don't know why we kept Trent Scott, by the way. I don't understand that one, but
I do. It's a body. And it's someone you need. He can play. He's got flexibility of playing guard. Played okay at right guard. Obviously against Detroit as well, which is great. And in the championship game, he didn't have too bad a game. Obviously, Wiley can come inside as well if he has to. He's a body who's played right tackle as well. I mean, you missed the one big miss that we've lost from free agency is actually Cornelius Lucas. It's a bigger miss than we thought it was going to be because we don't have that swing tackle presence. You're hoping someone like Foster Sorrell could do it, or you draft someone who can do that, or you draft in an out-and-out right tackle and then Wiley becomes your swing tackle. I don't know.
Well, I don't think Wiley's never played left tackle.
No, he wouldn't go left. No,
ever. So there's no point in being a swing tackle, then, is it? He's got to be able to.
But it's a backup, then, isn't he? He's a backup right tackle. He's
a backup right tackle, then. So that's what you don't really want. You don't really want Wiley playing at left. Definitely over the left side.
No, definitely don't want him on the left side because the options there are you got Brandon Coleman and you got Tunsil. That's it, and it's like great, but you know that Trent Scott can go both sides.
I suppose he might be the swing tackle then that we've got.
So maybe that's what you do.
We might even. I mean, I'd say it'll definitely be the first 2 rounds will definitely tell us where we're up to because if you don't go tackling those 2 rounds, well, after that you're just going to be looking at another body and hope that he's good enough in the 4th.
There you go, and as Deluxe has said, he's historically a swing tackle.
Or maybe now. We've seen Scott play guard as well, haven't we?
He went right guard. He went right guard in the. He came in for Cosme when he was injured. So
he's good for the, backup emergency backup situations. You know, so now I can kind of more understand why they want to keep him around another year. And we've got bodies now as well on the offensive line, but are they any good? That's the key.
That's the problem.
Is his cuff going to hold out? Is it? There's loads of questions about them. The other guy is obviously played for the Chargers O-line, who, to be fair, the Chargers O-line wasn't actually that bad for Herbert, but yeah, still not great.
Scott G's got a question for us. He said, it's MLB opening day. Why are you podcasting and not watching? Well, mate, to be honest with you, I'm not into baseball in any way, shape or form. Rounders, nah, mate, not for me. It's just, we went to a Nats game, didn't we, when we were out in the States? And my God, it was 4 hours of absolute boredom. I was like, what on earth is this?
I mean, I was a little bored.
Even though there was like 3 home runs, but I was like, this is just dire. Not for me. Like, I mean, it's just not a game that I could get into. Like, I can't get into golf, no matter how hard you try. I can't do it. It just drives me insane. But I understand it's America's pastime. I understand why people want to go and have a chat, have a sit down, sit there for hours watching a game. I get that. But even though the NFL is a lot more technical and it's still a start-stop sport, which in the UK a lot of people don't understand, I would rather give me a football game any day, and I'll watch that, no problem whatsoever. Maybe I just need a bit more entertaining, Scouse. What about you?
That's it. That's exactly right. I mean, I'm the same. I mean, I used to, do I like baseball? Yes. Would I make a conscious effort to go and watch a live game? No. If it was on, telly, there was nothing else on, then I might watch it for a half hour or something, and that'll be about it.
Yeah, that'd be me too. Yeah.
It's just like, it's something on for a little bit. It's like, it's definitely not on the top 5 sports that I like. So
no.
Could I put up with it? Sure, but yeah, it's not something that I enjoy watching.
Now, Scott's second question is a little bit off topic. He said, should people follow MTG's comments about people's opinions in the UK? Now, this is Marjorie Taylor Greene, who commented to a Sky News reporter. Excuse me. The Sky News reporter was asking about the recent signal conversation between the top of the tree within the US government. And was asking, look, how do you feel about bombing Yemen and the Houthis and what's going on over there? And obviously she started coming out with a lot of shit around, oh, well, you need to go back home and look at your own country because you have an immigration problem and this is happening and that's happening and that's happening. I was like, yeah, okay, look, admittedly, we do. It's not a secret. However, we have to trust that we have adults over here who can sort that out. Now, I could go for another hour and a half on what this current government is doing. I don't want to go down that road, and I don't want to talk about that. But listen, love, you need to sort your.
You get thrown in jail for saying something a bit not even that bad.
You need to sort your own house in order. Those in glass houses shouldn't throw stones, is what I would say to her. This is a woman who is a denier of a flat earther and a denier of a lot of things. So yeah, I don't need to hear what you've got to say. Clearly the Sky News report was trying a bit of clickbait as well. So it is what it is. But let's just brush that one off and we'll move on. Very quickly.
Would you though? I mean, what do you think? Mm-hmm. Would you actually say to us English people, let's keep our mouth shut?
No, that's not acceptable to say that if you're a journalist. Absolutely not. You should answer the question that's being asked of you.
Ask questions. That's her job. You know what I mean? And she should answer it. Or I know politicians they don't really answer the question, do they? Let's face it. But
no, I know that
you do with some ridiculous spin half the time. But yeah, I mean, I thought this was a low blow. It was a low blow. There's no need for that. It was like she's doing her job asking questions. Yeah, okay, it's a tough question about, obviously people being killed, being bombed in Yemen and stuff. People could have died there through them bombings. But it's just like, I just don't. It's just a low blow from it. Just lacked a bit of class. You know what I mean?
Lacked a bit of class. Have you ever heard her speak? She's terrible. This is gutter politics. She is one of the worst examples of a politician that I've ever seen in my life, and I've watched some absolute horror shows in the House of Commons, mate. Trust me. There are some absolutely deplorable people over both sides of the pond, and anyone who's at the top of the tree in politics we don't want to know. You know what I mean? Just yeah, we'll let the lunatics in the asylum. You know what I mean? It's just yeah.
That's the problem. The odd lunatics are running the asylum.
Correct.
That's the problem,
well,
man.
yeah, on both sides of the pond, mate. But there you go. It is what it is. I've said it out. I've set it out there. Yeah. I mean, exactly. I'm not saying at the very top of the tree. I'm still pissed off with JD Vance, man. That guy needs to shut his fucking pie hole. Now, I'll be perfectly honest with you here. He absolutely pissed me off a treat by saying in his interview, "Oh yeah, what are you going to do? Some small country put in like 10,000 troops on a." Over there, go and let you go and do Ukraine. We won't get any protection from you, and basically did down the UK military. Now, I'm making sure that I've been to war, mate. I know what it's like. I've been to Iraq. I've been to Afghanistan twice. You know what I'm saying? I didn't sit in a fucking field putting field dressings inside American troops' legs to make sure their legs were staying on, or bury 42 British soldiers and put them in a box to send them home. For him to disrespect me and the way that I feel about that, he's an absolute prick. Maybe he should go back and take some more photos on his little military tour, because that man, yes, he was a US Marine, but he was a US Marine photographer who never seen a day of war in his life. So, get back in your box, JD Vance. Don't care if you're the vice president. You are deplorable, and that was absolutely abysmal. So there you go. That's my rant done over with you. Anyway, back to the real world of football, and I apologise to anyone who is listening. And if you want to stay off, then that's fine. Maybe I should make a political statement at the draft when I'm on stage. But yeah, it'd be like an Oscar speech. Yeah, I will be. Yeah, probably. But there you go. Our last question on submitted questions. We'll get into the chat as well. I said Paul Fiander Turner said not improving at linebacker was Ron's biggest blind spot for his defense. What is DQ's blind spot, and how can he fix it in the draft?
Does he really have one? I mean, a true blind spot. I mean, you could technically say.
I don't think he has got one.
I mean, you could say linebacker again, but he's kind of rectified it again by re-signing Bobby.
Yeah.
I mean, he definitely. I mean, he knows where he's got weaknesses in the team, and I think he's going to continue to try and build on that as best we can. I think they've got a lot of hope in McGee. Is it McGee?
Yeah, McGee. McGee's a linebacker.
Yeah. I keep getting him on the.
Hampton.
The other guy confused. No, the other guy confused is the safety. Owens.
Oh, Owens, Terrell Owens. Yeah.
I keep getting
he's a flat earther too, so there you go.
Yeah, you can stay on the bench. Flat. Now so? I don't really think he does. I just think he's got too many holes that you just can't replace everybody at once. With the depth as well. Yeah, of course, starters. We've done that again this off season, but with the backups and I don't think he has got a true kind of glaring hole in his mind. I mean, you could say technically edge at this moment, but I just think that we're going to address that with the draft. So,
yeah, edge probably is the only blind spot I can think of.
If we don't address it in the draft,
then that is a blind spot.
That's the answer. That's the blind spot. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Deluxe has said I did star a question up here, so I'll go back to it in a second. He said, "Who's the surprise contributor from this year's free agencies that we've signed, from the signings that we've got? Who's your surprise contributor to the team?"
I'm going to throw somebody in like Herbig.
Oh, good shout. Yeah, I like that. Good shout.
Because he's got a high chance of starting. And I think he could hopefully he can show what he can showcase what he can do, and he was solid before he got hurt, so but why not be solid now? So I think he'd be a surprise contributor, because I don't think he wouldn't be your first name on your team sheet. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so, I know. Yeah. I'm going to go with Dietrich Wise. I think he is actually going to contribute quite well from the edge position. obviously comes in here as a veteran, knows knows he's wanted as well, which is something that they've all talked about. So yeah, I'll go with Dietrich Wise. I think he'll do a good job for us. And our last question, mate, from Deluxe again in the chat. He says, "Do you have a position or name that you want to call out on draft day? Is there a Yankov type name, mate? Silla Shitter or something like that? I mean, he is one, isn't he? That would be funny. But no, just give me an easy name. Tom Smith from Iowa. That's fine. You know what I mean? Not like I do notice that I saw one of the draft cards and they spell it out for you, so it's like, okay, that's not too bad. I can get away with that. And weirdly enough, it was Mike Sanders.
You can't read? Are you on the boat?
Yeah, I can't read.
You can't read.
Oh, shit. It's going to be like an Oscar speech, mate. It's going to be like, yeah, I'd like to thank my family. I'd like to thank my dad. It's going to be. Yeah. I'd like to thank my agent for being here. I'd like to thank the commissioner. No, I don't know, man. It's honestly, Deluxe. If I get the honour of doing it, which we still don't know, that's the rumor and what they got last year. So I'm only assuming that, yeah, it probably will be. I would absolutely love to do that. Probably going to be pick 215, but we'll see where we go with it. And to be honest with you, I just hope it's an easy name and I don't balls it up. That's the main thing.
I just think that
Kabir Gahaba Bilama. Wow.
Yeah. Now, I just think that Pete's is just going to get rid of all those draft picks. So
just so I'd have to do it.
That's what I think.
That's going to be amazing, isn't it? Yeah, we've only got pick 29 now.
And you're definitely not getting the first round, so see you later.
No, exactly. I like it, yeah.
That'd be brilliant if Peters did that.
If this guy does come out, right, and obviously Deluxe said ignore the spelling, he went by KGB. If he comes out and just say the Russian spy, that'd be it. Yeah. But no, man, that's pretty cool. I like that. Just give me an easy name. I don't really care what it is, but give me an easy name. I'll look forward to doing that. That'll be amazing. A shout out to James again before we finish. You sorted your flights this week, so it'll be interesting. I've just got to try and sneak you in somewhere or get you somewhere close because it's going to be a nightmare.
Hey, we are world famous, bro. We're world famous. I'm sure they should allow me in.
We'll see what happens.
I'm not
apparently.
I can't see anything. I'd rather watch it at the bar if that's the case. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Apparently the Steelers guy isn't turning up, so there's always a seat over with a Pittsburgh. There's always a seat over with a Pittsburgh team. Yeah.
I'll sit with them. Piss up their quarterback situation.
Yeah, maybe that's the case. Maybe that's the best way to be. Oh dear me. There you go. It is what it is. But yeah, man. Thank you for being with me, Scouse, this week. But will any selection at the draft make you boo? No, probably not, man. Unless we take a quarterback, or at 29 or something ridiculously stupid like, oh yeah, we're going to draft a kicker in the second round.
That would be an actual thing. I think in the
drafting a
round,
kicker.
We're going to draft a kicker.
Oh, in the seventh, yeah. There is a kicker that there is a few kickers that are pretty good, but not in the first or second. That's for sure.
Harold is a guy from Florida. He was pretty good. He'd be quite a nice little pickup for us. But man, I always think of it as kickers don't get drafted. You don't need to draft them. If they're a good one, you draft them, don't you? Do you know what I mean? Because they're a guy that I know people don't rate them, but the thing is, when you've got a shit kicker and when you've got a good one.
Because you're from North.
You never mention the guy when he's doing well, but when he misses, you're fucking in his face. And these are the guys who puts points on the board. So
you're right.
For me, I definitely worthwhile spending a 6th or 7th round on a kicker if there's a one that you really like. I mean, Fitzgerald looks legit, man. So look at what
maybe we do. All right, mate. Well, thank you for being with us. Thanks for everybody in the chat. Thanks for all those who put questions in. It's more likely we trade out of first or second. Yeah, I think you're probably right, mate. I think you're probably
Is it
right.
more likely we trade out of our first or second for the question?
First, most likely. Better
draft
capital. Yeah, better draft capital.
But again, I think unless someone's given us something really, really good for it, and you got to play your life there, I think you stay where you are and just get the guy you want. You know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe.
Just take the Giants seats when they don't take a QB. Yeah,
true.
They'll be walking out, man. Now the thing is, though, the Giants guys won't even show up because they know they're not taking a quarterback now.
No chance. Not after getting them two. I don't think they are. No. Tommy Cutlets is your third choice quarterback over there, so it is what it is. Nah, I mean Jameis Winston and Russell Wilson. Yeah, I mean.
Two absolute bombs.
Yeah, well.
Well, they are now. I mean, Brian Wilson was good, but no.
Yeah, not right now. There you
go. The San Fran seats, because it might be for sale. Yeah, they're selling everything.
You're right. Fire sale over there. Over there, man. You're right, yeah. But yeah, I don't know. You need a trade partner. You're absolutely right. You need a trade partner to do anything. So we'll see who comes up and who doesn't come up. But yeah, mate, that just about does us. We'll be at the same time next week. Hoping this 9:00 slot for us is okay. 5:00 for the US. So we hope you guys are enjoying this slightly later time than normal. It will change because obviously clocks go back in when did the clocks go back? This weekend, is it?
I think it might be this weekend. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's this weekend. So. Yeah, it'll be interesting.
4:00 to them, wouldn't it? If we keep it at
4:00, yeah, be 4:00. So we'll go back to that. So next week it'll probably be 4 p.m. So join us then. Don't forget to like and subscribe, please. Please share it with your nan, your dog. Make them an account on YouTube and subscribe. Make sure you push this podcast out as far and wide as you can. We appreciate everyone for being here and everyone who contributes to the show. Couldn't do it without you. Even if it was just me and Scouse talking to ourselves, I'm sure we'd still make it an hour and a half. So it is what it is. But there you go. Thanks as always, Scouse, for being with me, mate. I appreciate you. And looking forward to next week.
Bye.